Oh, Daddy!
What?
I'm wet.
You wet? Alright, watch out.
What's going on, YouTube? This Big Pencil coming at you again with a nugget.
Dad, you said nugget.
I've been kind of slack with my story times here. I hadn't done a story time video in a while. It's been so daggone hot here recently that I ain't been wanting to get out and do a whole lot. I've been fishing here and there, doing a lot of grass cutting, things of that sort. But got me a good ice cold glass of tea here. It ain't too bad right now. It's probably about 7 o'clock in the afternoon, so it ain't terrible. It's probably 90 right now, so it ain't awful. Figured I'd bring you a couple more stories here. I got a couple more stories I'll tell you today. First story is gonna be back when we used to live, when I was a kid growing up. We used to live in Orangeburg, there off of Oxford Drive. And we had a single wide trailer that we lived in. Had a lot of good kids in the neighborhood that grew up with, and when we went, we had a little spot back in the woods there. And I'm still to this day, I'm not 100% sure who owned it. But Daddy somehow or another got permission from some guy who I never met before, never seen him, to hunt back in there. And we just had old raggedy wooden stand that Daddy had built back in that cut there, and he'd put corn out for me to go hunt, and he'd hunt it every now and again. And so I went back in there one day. Daddy dropped me off. I couldn't have been no more than 11, 12 years old. And I got back in there, and I didn't have my own rifle at the time. Daddy was too cheap to buy me one, or too broke to buy me one. I hadn't quite figured it out yet which one it was. And we had an old 30-30, old Winchester 30-30 that he had borrowed from a friend of ours that he let me hunt with. And that's all I ever was able to hunt with till I was old enough to go to work and buy my own guns. I had to use hand-me-downs from other people. And I took that 30-30 back in there, and so I went back in there, and when he dropped me off, we had to drive. It was probably about a good mile from the house back in there, and he dropped me off, and I got there to the opening, and I knew where to go from there, so I walked. Well, I get walking back up in there, and I get right there at the base of the stand,
Get in there, baby.
and then I catch something out my eye. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I seen something flicker toward the corn pile. And so I stood there and looked, and it never moved. It never budged. It just sat there looking at me, straight looking at me, and I couldn't tell what it was. Well, I took a couple steps off to the side where my ladder was to climb up the stand. I put the rifle right there on one of the rungs of the ladder and looked through the scope down there, and it was a deer down there. It was a dang buck. I said, Lord, look at him. And I was 12 years old. I was just as nervous as I could be. I pulled the hammer back on the rifle, knocked the safety off the gun, shot one time, pow! Nothing happened. They're still standing there looking at me. I said, dang, well, he was looking straight at me, so all I could shoot at was his chest. Well, I couldn't really get a good shot on it, so I shucked another shell in, put it up there again, bam, shot again. They're still standing there looking at me. I said, dang, this must be the dumbest deer on the planet Earth.
La 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 la.
Would you please go away? You over here bothering me. Go on. Go bother somebody else. Go jump on your trampoline over there.
What about a kilo?
Well, go bother Kilo. Yeah, go bother her. I'll tell you, youngins. But anyway, after the second shot, I jacked another shell in. I didn't have but 4. I had 4 shells.
Butter.
And I put the daggone, put it on the deer, and I squeezed it off like I done all 3 times. I don't know. It just must have been my time at that point, because that deer was. I said, this must be the dumbest deer on planet Earth. Got to be. He deaf, dumb, stupid, and ignorant. Well, I shot the 3rd time, and he went away. He disappeared. So I said, I don't know what happened. I walked down there, and boy, I got down there, and I had killed him. He dropped and hit the ground, and boy, you couldn't tell me nothing then. When I walked down there, I seen I'd killed that deer, boy, I was ecstatic. I was just as happy as I could be. It was a dang nice 8-point. And well, I say nice, he was nice for me. I wasn't 11, 12 years old. I was thrilled to death. I had never killed nothing that big before. And I took off running. Dropped the rifle down on the deer and took off running. Run all the way back to the house. I never slowed up. I remember that. I never slowed up. Got all the way back to the house and run in the house, told mama and daddy, oh, I done killed me a big one. I killed me a big one. He said, dang, boy, you ain't been gone 20 minutes. He said, ain't no way you shot all that already. I said, boy, I got me a nice buck down on the ground. And boy, I was thrilled to death to kill that buck. But I ain't never had one stand there that long. Me shooting at him 3 times, and finally I hit him on the 3rd shot. You'd have thought after 2 shots he'd have run off. But no, he stayed right there. Stayed right there and let me fram at him till I finally got him. It was just God's will for me to kill that deer, I'm going to tell you. Alright, the next story I got for you. He was down there in Providence running dogs one day. And I had like I say, I had a hand-me-down gun that a friend of ours let me shoot. I was young, I was 13, 14 years old. I had a Browning 20 gauge pump, youth model 20 gauge pump. And well, I was down in the swamp one day walking with Daddy. I just started walking with Daddy in the woods good. And we was on top of a windrow. Well, I watched Daddy take that Browning A5 of his. The dogs was coming straight at us, and I heard the deer start. I heard the deer coming. And I never seen the deer at that point. Daddy could see him, but I couldn't. Well, I looked over and I seen Daddy put his gun up, and he shot one time, and the deer skid on the ground till it stopped right in front of me. And when I seen that deer, I seen the other big doe right behind it. And well, I put that dang on Browning right on that deer's shoulder, and I shot. And the only thing I can think is that I shot low, 'cause that deer jumped probably 10 foot in the air and took off. Now, I only had one shot. We was in a place that's pretty thick, and that thing took off. We trailed blood for a long ways, and we never could find where that deer went. He hit that big old doe. The one Daddy killed probably 120 pounds. And this one was probably every bit of that big, probably about the same size. And she hit that swamp, that was it. She was gone. Never did find her. I'm sure she died somewhere, but I don't know where she went. There wasn't no. We walked out through the waterfall ways, we couldn't find nothing. It was just a waste of time. But that just goes to show you, you don't get them all. Even somebody who can halfway shoot decent, you'll never kill all of them. That's just period. You'll never kill all of them. But I got one more story for you. This is a dove hunting story. This wasn't that long ago. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. And I'm sure a lot of y'all out there hunt public dove fields. And we had to hunt public dove fields for a long time over the years. I mean, we didn't always have the spot that we got now to plant, and we've been planting it for a good 7, 8 years now, and it ain't nothing quite like having your own spot. But when you ain't got no choice, you got to go to public land. And we had a friend of ours that would always give us the down low on the good spots that we was dove hunting. And he called Daddy that Saturday before and told Daddy, if you want to kill you a limit of birds, you go right there to that dove field in Jamestown, going toward Jamestown where we catfish. You go right there to that dove field in St. Stephen, Jamestown area, and you go right to where I tell you to go. And he told me right where to get, and boy, he had that field done up right. Now, me, a friend of mine, and my cousin went down there to hunt it. We left early. We got down there probably about 10:30. You know, the field open. Most of the time, the fields open up at 12, and they'd say, "Y'all go ahead, go." And there'd be a beeline. There'd be a running. Hell, I've seen people out there on bicycles trying to outrun people to get the spots. And it just ain't worth all that to get a bird. Now I'm gonna tell you. But When we got there that day, we was probably already 200th in line. And as the line got longer and longer, 12 o'clock come, well, the field was still a good couple miles up the dirt road that we had to go through. They hadn't opened the gate yet. But finally, they opened the gate at 12 o'clock, and we all drove down to where we had to park and sign in at. Well, you know, normally the game warden gives a speech, you sign in, you go, and he turns you loose, you go. Well, as soon as we got out the truck and we got up there, and as soon as I signed my name, I was the last one of us three to sign my name. I signed my name, and as soon as I did that, he said, y'all go. And boy, there was a daggone foot race to wherever they could get. And he told me, don't get in the first 10 acres of sunflowers there, because there's probably going to be a lot of birds laying in that spot, but that ain't where they're coming in the field at. That's just where they lighten once they get in there. He said, and I guarantee you 90% of the people that run in that field to start with is going to sit right in them 10 acres. And he was right. There was probably 500, 600 birds that got up out of that 10 acres to start with as soon as we got there. And boy, them people beeline. There was people sitting within 10 foot of each other. Didn't know one another from Adam. They didn't care. They didn't care. I said, boy, how in the world y'all going to know who killed the bird? That thing going to have 3 loads of bird shot in it before he finally hits the ground. And we got back then to where the guy told us to get. So as soon as we got back in there, we got settled in. Not much happening to start with, and we didn't get back in the spot till a little after 1 o'clock. Finally, about 15 after 1, here they come. Boy, them birds started coming back into that field, floating over the top of that power line, and we was in the ideal spot. When we walked out of that field, I killed my limit, my 15 birds. Actually, I killed 16 birds that day. I killed a Eurasian dove, and that don't count toward your 15 dove limit. Killed 16 birds that day with 24 shots. And when I got back up was on my way walking back toward the truck, and I counted, I seen the sign-in sheet. There was 486 people in that 40-acre field. A 40-acre field. Well, I'll be dipped. Oh, my chair broke, and I dropped my tea. Oh. I tell you, can't have nothing nowadays. Can't have nothing. I don't know what happened there. I got tea in my face. Live action. Ugh. I mean, I drowned myself in the tea. Lord. Stupid cheap patio chairs, I tell you, don't buy nothing cheap. If you go buy something, try to buy something worth having. I didn't buy this one, it actually come with the house. It was here when I got here. I might be throwing it away after the day. But, back to my story. There was 486 people in that 40-acre field. And that's a lot of people. A lot of people. Boy, there were so many people out there, it was ridiculous. The guy next to me was actually the first one to get the limit. The guy sitting right next to me was the first one to get the limit. When he got his limit, it wasn't 5 minutes, I got mine. And the guy, my friend I was with, my nephew, they shot out of shells, didn't quite get the limit. They shot slam out of shells. All right, that's it, let's go. It was 3 o'clock when we walked out the field. From 1:15 to, I'm gonna say probably 2:30, I had my limit. I sat there and waited on them. And with 486 people in the field, that's doing pretty dang good. Well, I think that's it for the story time for today. I done busted my behind and spilled my tea all over me from this cheap old flimsy behind chair here. I got to go get me a shower now. This is Big Pencil, and we will be back with another one soon.